Oh, big giant one. Get it moving, make it drop. Stay on there, stay on there. God, they fight so hard in this current. It's insane. Stay on there. There you go. There you go. All right, guys, there's a good look at that brand new bait by Berkley called a Krej. And Krej is jerk spelt backwards. We're on a river today. We're smallmouth fishing, and we're here to show you that the Krej is not just for forward-facing sonar. In fact, I'm so sure, I'm gonna turn this thing off. I'm gonna turn the machine off, and we're gonna be using this Krej in some ways that you could just go fishing. Get ready for some amazing smallmouth fishing on a river with the Berkley Krej, old school style. All right, guys, this is the Berkley Krej. Krej is jerk spelt backwards, and this is a really kind of unique hybrid bait. And when you look at the bait, you look at the body and you think that's a traditional jerk bait. But then you get to the bill and you're gonna see a very unique bill that's actually an inverted bill, right? If you look at it, it's a backwards bill. Thus the name Krej, it's jerk spelt backwards. And this is really the key to the bait. So it's a sinking bait, but because the bill's inverted, it actually will rise on the retrieve. Really what that means is versus a traditional jerkbait, the Krej, you have a lot of control. You know, the main misconception about this style bait is that it's only good for forward-facing sonar. It's only good for fish you see on your sonar and casting to individual fish. The fact is that the Krej is good when you're just fishing, old school style. And there's about 3 or 4 different ways I'm gonna fish it, but the essence of this bait is that backwards bill, the fact that it rises on the retrieve, but the magic of this bait, guys, is that on the pause, it will sink and it'll sink backwards and shake right in their face. It'll almost glide backwards toward the fish. So using a combination of retrieves, making it glide back in their face on the pause without forward-facing sonar, this is a bait that can cover a lot of water, elicit a reaction strike, and catch a lot of fish. You know, the Krej is not just for deep water and forward-facing sonar. This is the kind of bait you can just fish, and there's 3 primary ways I'm going to fish the Krej. The first one is fishing it like a traditional jerkbait, but utilizing more pauses. The key to this Krej, besides the rise with that backward bill, is the fact that it sinks and shakes right back in the fish's face. So the first way with the Krej is just like a jerkbait. Literally gonna cast it out. We're on a flat here with some rocks, and I'm just gonna give it 2 or 3 jerks. But when I pause it, I'm gonna lean to the bait, throw slack into the bait, and then I'm gonna jerk again. I'm gonna give it 2 or 3 jerks, lean to the bait, pause, and let that bait sink back in the fish's face. So that bill, when I'm jerking it, traditional jerkbait goes left, right, kind of tight. But the neat thing about the Krej, because it has that inverted bill, it's going to go more erratic and it's going to go up. So regular jerkbait, when you jerk it, jerks down. When you jerk the Krej, it jerks up, right? Rising bait. And then those long pauses are key because it'll shimmy back in the fish's face. The number 2 way I'm going to fish the Krej, and this is actually a perfect spot for it, is to fish this bait as a wake bait. So basically making long casts with this bait, the spinning rod's great for it as well, and just reeling it and letting this bait subsurface just wake right under the top. Once again, the great thing about this lure is if I'm reeling it and I see a follower, If I'm reeling it and I get a blow and it misses, I pause, I bow to it, and the lure sinks back in the fish's face. No other wake bait can do that. So long cast over some rock piles here. And on this one, I'm really, instead of jerking it, I'm honestly just reeling it. And I'm watching the bait, literally watching that, I call it almost a V wake. And I'm watching that V wake. And every once in a while, it'll pop out maybe just a little bit, but I'm really working hard to keep it just under the surface. Almost a medium to slow retrieve. If I see a fish behind it, if I get a bite, bow to the fish, bow to the bait, throw slack in the line. And when I do that, because the Krej is a sinking bait, that following fish sees it, shimmies right back in his face, boom, he eats it. So the number 2 way is as a wake bait. All right, last but not least, and remember, keep in mind, guys, this is without forward-facing sonar. This is just fishing the Krej. The last way is as a topwater. And the great thing about the Krej is it walks like a traditional stick bait style lure, but it has a more loose, erratic action. So you're gonna see this very nice, tight walk, but every once in a while, again, because that bill is backwards, it's gonna just skip a beat and turn left or turn right. So it takes that traditional walking style that's rhythmic, it has that, but every once in a while it'll just kick out. The other great thing about the Krej as a topwater, and you heard me say it as a wake bait, is if a fish blows on it and misses it, right? A traditional topwater, if he blows on it and misses it, the topwater just sits on the surface. If they blow and miss this one, I pause it, that topwater fish is still there, he sees it falling, it looks like an injured bait fish, and he eats it. So last way is as a topwater. Once again, long cast, and you're gonna see me just, I'm fishing it a lot like a walking bait, right? Twitches, you can see it going side to side on the surface. And if I see a fish behind it or I get a boil, I stop, bow to it, let it fall on the fish's face, and then I just start reeling and it comes right back to the top, right? This is not a floating lure, but because the bill's inverted, it rises to the surface and I can keep it on the top. All right, guys, I like to fish the Krej on 2 different styles of rods, a casting rod and a spinning rod. You know, for me, a casting rod is more that normal style fishing. I use a rod very similar to the same exact rod you would use for a jerkbait. So a 6'6" to a 7-foot medium action rod, casting rod, is perfect for it. Remember, this is a bait that you're imparting a lot of the action with your wrists. So same rod you throw a jerkbait with is what you want to throw the Krej with. For me, this is really the perfect one. This is the brand new Abu Garcia Ike series. This is the 6'8" medium delay series. And you're gonna know that on this rod by the little green accents on the rod. And really, if you look at this rod, it's parabolic. It's a combination of graphite and glass, which is perfect for trebles. But look at that short butt. And that really short butt section on this rod is gonna allow me to impart those twitches with that Krej, right? The jerking, the swimming, the walking. I can do all that because of the short butt. I like to pair that with a medium to fast retrieve, low profile reel. This is the brand new Abu Garcia Ike series, 7-1. So for normal fishing conditions, the same rod you use for your jerkbaits, the exact same rod. But there's another scenario for the Krej, and I wanna make sure I show that to you. And the other scenario is when you're having to make really long casts, schooling fish, ultra clear water, spooky fish in shallow water where you gotta get way out there. In those situations, I'm switching to a spinning rod because I can bomb this thing. But you want a longer spinning rod, a 7'4" to 7'8" rod, a long spinning rod to really heave that Krej out there. And the great thing is the Krej is heavy, so I can bomb cast it out there. So long spinning rod, my favorite. This is, again, the Abu Garcia brand new Ike series 7.6 spinning rod. And we actually call this the long cast finesse series. So long spinning rod. I pair it with a 2500 or a 3000 size reel. This is the Ike series, the 3000 size reel. For the casting rod, I'm using fluorocarbon, just like your jerkbait, right? 12, 15 pound, 100% fluorocarbon. But when I switch to a spinning rod and I'm bomb casting that Krej, braid to a fluoroleader. And I really love that combination that you'd use with a small jerkbait, right? Something like 10 pound braid to a 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon leader. This is Berkley X5, and this is a 10 pound, 100% fluorocarbon Berkley leader on it. So that combination of a long spinning rod, a heavy Krej, the braid with the fluoroleader, that will allow me to make those bomb casts to get to schooling fish or way away from the boat. So 2 rods, same bait, and this is the deal for fishing this bait and imparting maximum action. Oh, good big one. Golly. On the fall. Jeez, we know. Don't do that. Golly. Oh boy. On the fall. Just waking it on the top, as close to those rocks as I could get. I was doing that little deep V-wake. Oh God, don't do that. And I was waking it, and I killed it, and I watched this brown beast to come up and eat that Krej. We talk about the Krej, we talk about that fall being so key. And today, the bite's lethargic. They don't want it burning on the top. So the ability to kill it is really key. I couldn't have did that with a normal top water. Couldn't do that with a regular top water. Couldn't do that with a regular jerkbait. There you have it, guys. Whew, tough day today, but a great look at why that Krej is so effective. It's great for forward-facing sonar, but if you want an alternative for regular fishing, better than a topwater, better than a jerkbait, because of that rising action and that shimmy on the fall, give the Krej a try. Hope you enjoyed this one. Everything that you saw today, rod, reel, line, bait, available at Tackle Warehouse. Give the Krej a try, and you're gonna give them something they haven't seen.